Hey, what's up, Stringlings? Today we're going to take a look at another installment on the Great Canadian Pedalboard. It is a brand new release from Coffee Shop Pedals. Let's check it out. Coffee Shop Pedals is sort of well known for their two primary pedals. The main one that they put out a while back was the Affogato fuzz pedal, which is just a really remarkable programmable fuzz. But we've already got two fuzzes on the Great Canadian Pedalboard, but I really wanted to get something from Coffee Shop, and they told me some time ago that they were developing a brand new reverb pedal, and I have been looking for a reverb pedal for this board from day one. It's been really... it's not that nobody has a reverb pedal, it's just that everybody that has a reverb pedal already had another pedal on the board. So when Benno told me that they were doing a new programmable reverb for their Coffee Shop collection, I thought, yeah man, if you can get it done before I get this board built, I will definitely demo it and check it out. And last week they announced it. I mean, literally, I think it was like 1st of May, something like that. They announced it publicly. I've had it a little bit longer than that. They sent it to me just to have it in my hands, and man, it is a killer. This is it. It is the Cortado Reverb. It is, first of all, a beautiful pedal, as you can see. It is a smaller pedal. I'm going to grab drive pedal off my desk here. Just let me... Sorry about that. So this is the Tweed drive from True North, and this is the Cortado. You can see it's a slightly smaller pedal. How they got this much stuff into this little pedal is beyond me. It's about, yeah, it's the same size as the Empress Buffer Plus. So just for size comparison. So it doesn't take up very much real estate, but here's what's really cool about this pedal. First of all, it's fully digital. It is a fully digital reverb pedal. It has 4 reverb functions, which I'm going to go over in a sec. 2 switches and 4 jacks. Now, it is stereo in and stereo out. So you have the option to do right left if you're coming out of a stereo delay or something to that effect, or you can run a couple of different things into it. It's just lots of options when you've got stereo, but of course left mono as usual, right? Left mono as usual on the way out. This is the bypass switch. It's one of those quiet switches with no click, and then this is the preset switch, which I'll also discuss in a second, and this is the MIDI control jack right here. So it is MIDI controllable, MIDI programmable, MIDI operable. The cool thing here is that you can save presets on this. So you can set your tone, set your reverb, save it, and then recall it. So you can do that for a bunch of different settings on here. So if you're, playing in a show or whatever, you have the option to, save a couple of different presets for your reverb, change it up song to song, and so on. And as well, you can expand the memory by using MIDI. So if you have a MIDI bank, you can save it that way. So lots of stuff going on here. The most important thing though with any pedal is, does it sound good? And the answer is yes. Let's go down to the desktop and give it a listen. Okay, we're all set up. We're plugged in down on the desktop here. The Cortado is here. You should be able to see it. No problem. I am playing once again into Reaper. We are using the Lunotar Steve Barrett Custom with the Peg City humbuckers. As you can see, I'm repping Peg City today as well because they are also a sponsor on the Great Canadian Pedalboard. And we're going to run this clean into the Soldano SLO 100 from Neural DSP once again. Clean tone, sounds like a guitar. It's a little bit compressy today. I wonder why. Let me turn this up a bit. There we go. Okay, so that's coming through loud and clear. Probably a little... Make sure we're not clipping. And Now, let's run down the controls on the Cortado a little bit. So this is a complicated reverb pedal in the sense that there's a lot that it can do. First of all, it has 4 reverb modes. And just in case you see me looking down, it's because it's very, very new. It was only launched last week, and I've been looking at the instructions, and I've been working with the manual a little bit, and so I have the actual first draft of the manual that Coffee Shop sent me just to figure out what's going on. And don't worry, the winner will get a copy of this. And I am going to do a little bit more tutorial work, I think, on this pedal in the future. But if you can see, I'm not sure if you can quite make it out here, but there are 2 inputs and 2 outputs. That is for stereo. I'm running this mono. In front of the reverb, I do have a Tweed drive from True North Pedals that we're going to use later on just to give it a little bit of edge. The controls across the top are fairly straightforward. There's a, I'm just going to grab get the right page here. Make sure I have them, yeah. So mix, decay, and tone. Those work the way they typically work on a reverb pedal. The mix pedal determines how much reverb is going into your signal. The decay sets the length of the reverb, like how long it takes for the reverb to sort of echo back. And the tone blends in how much of the high frequencies are in or out of the reverb part of the tone. So it doesn't affect the sound of your guitar, it affects the sound of the reverb. That's where those tones usually work. Down in the left hand corner are the program controls. So it runs through the 4 settings: Hall, Spring, Tremoloverb, and Octave. So those are the 4 reverb settings that are on this pedal. The control knob over here is kind of a unique attribute to this pedal because it controls different things for each of those reverb tones. Okay, the bypass switch is your master on and off. Over here there's a MIDI switch as well, or a MIDI plug as well, MIDI jack. But so the bypass switch is your master on and off, and the preset switch is your controller for selecting whatever presets you save. Now, on this video, I'm not going to go through the steps of how to program and save a preset and recall it, but you have the option to do that. Again, I may do some tutorial work later on with it just to walk you through the steps as I walk through the steps, because it's a very cool feature of this pedal. And in addition, with the MIDI feature as well, you can store and generate and recall even more of those presets, so you have even more options if you have a MIDI rig. The Great Canadian Pedalboard is mostly going to be a mono rig without using some of those stereo out features, without using any MIDI features, but you have that option down the road if you wanted to do that. I highly suggest you go over to the Coffee Shop Pedals website and look up the manual. I think is on there for download, and check out all of the things this pedal can do. So we are going to just give it a little listen. That is dry guitar tone. Nothing going on. Okay, I'm going to hit the bypass. We are down at the hall. Everything is at 12 o'clock. There it is. That's a great sounding hall reverb right out of the box. Okay, so that's nice, wet sounding hall reverb. I'm probably not going to mess with the mix too much. I like it in the middle like that, but let's take this control down. The control knob changes the modulation depth of the reverb trail, so it actually modulates the reverb. So as it turns to the right, you can hear that waver in the reverb trails. So for that, I'm going to turn the mix up so you can hear it. Hear that? Okay. And so with a little bit more decay, So the main reason I turned the decay up was just to hear a little bit more of what that modulation is doing, just so that it's a little bit clearer with the control turned all the way up. Again, with the control right in the middle, it is still a very nice, crystal clear reverb. I mean, that's so nice. It's really, really nice. This is a fully digital reverb, by the way. But it just sounds really, really great. We're going to switch over to the spring reverb, and you'll be able to tell because the light on the LED changes on the program. Watch. There it is, right? Yeah. Okay. So spring reverb, all the same settings, right at 12 o'clock. So in this one, the control adds a little bit of a warm overdrive to it. Right? That's clean, and then if we take the control all the way up, you hear that buzz, that's on the trail. That's actually really cool, because what that gets you is almost like a lo-fi effect where the like there's a second guitar somewhere echoing with a distorted tone. Very, very bassy though. You'd have to go in with the tone control a bit. Let's just brighten that up. But as spring reverbs go, I think pretty cool. If you take that control all the way down, that's a really cool sound. One of my favorites on here that I probably wouldn't have thought would be one of my favorites is the Tremoloverb. So this adds, of course, a tremolo effect to the trails. And the control knob switches the speed of the tremolo on the trails. It doesn't tremolo the note itself. But what's interesting with that is that it does give the effect, if you're sustaining a note, it gives the effect that the tremolo is impacting the note itself. It's not. It's only impacting the trails of the reverb, but as a result, you get a very sort of mellow tremolo effect overall. That waver, that little waver in the background there. But so we speed that up all the way. You get some really, really shimmery effects with that. And one that I actually use quite a lot in other contexts is this sort of shimmer sound that you get with the Octave reverb. And the Octave is controlled by the control knob as well. So in the middle, you can hear those little voices kind of echoing back. Right? It's like a shimmer verb. Which is, again, very nice. We had a little more decay. So one of my very, very, very favorite effects for creating really ethereal space with the sound. It, by the way, sounds amazing in stereo. I don't happen to have a stereo rig in my studio. I should, actually, because I get a lot of stereo pedals in here. But let's take everything back to where it was before. All the way down here with the control. We're down in the hall reverb, and we're just going to quickly snap on the Tweed drive over here. And I'm fairly mellow. This down a bit. Let's take the drive up. Ooh, loud. Okay, throw on some of that hall reverb. I love a good overdrive with a nice reverb on it. It just gives it a really nice, rich kind of feel to it. I actually take the mix down a little bit, and I think mellow out the tone, and we'll put a little bit of modulation into that reverb. It just sounds awesome. Spring reverb with a classic Tweed style overdrive, slightly more mix, and this one actually, remember, has a little bit of drive on the tails as well, or trails. Now it fattens it up quite a lot. Throw a little more decay on. So there you get a little bit of the effect, like almost like a room reverb. If we take that mix down, we get a little bit more of a vintage style, kind of bluesy room style reverb. It's nice. If you wanted to solo with that. Just really, really hot sounding things. A little bit more tremolo. I'm going to turn the drive down. We're going to bring that mix up a little bit so we get this kind of let's take that decay back a little bit. You'd have to have a reason to use that, but man, does it sound cool. Actually, you know what it does? It gives you almost like an added delay effect when you've added some tremolo to that. It sounds like it's got some repeats. That's really, really neat. I'm going to skip down here to the octave verb, and we'll just see Here's those little squeaks up there. They're gone, and bring them all the way back. Turn that mix up a bit. Turn my tone down. You can do some weird stuff with this thing. That's all right. That's all right. I don't mind that. I actually think that would sound cooler. A little bit more mix on the hall reverb. I'm going to turn on the fat switch and the diode switch on the Tweed drive. You get a little bit more of a spacey kind of soul. It's a very, very cool reverb pedal. Let's wrap it up. So that is the Coffee Shop Pedals Cortado Reverb. Absolutely stunning little unit. Shockingly good sounding reverb with a lot of really fun controls. I think it does some stuff that a lot of reverbs don't do. I have found that one of the things a lot of pedal manufacturers are doing is adding some kind of a modulation to their other effects. So for example, from Mayfly, I have a phaser, and the phaser also has a tremolo function, right? From Dr. Scientist, I have a delay pedal, and their delay pedal also has a modulation function. The Cortado has 4 different reverbs. The hall reverb is modulated, and the Tremoloverb, of course, is a tremolo, which is a flavor of modulation. The Tal Audio Hybrid Chorus is a chorus pedal that also has a modulation function on it. So there's no shortage of modulation when it comes to how you want to program your pedal board. In this day and age, do you even therefore need modulation pedals? I think you do. I think you need to have that level of control if you're doing a lot of different things. You've got a chorus, you've got a phaser, you've got a ring mod. We have a ring mod on this board as well. A modulated delay, a modulated reverb. As you may have seen in some of the other pedals that I've done, Mayfly has the My Evil Twin modulated reverb. They just released the Goddess dual chorus, which has an additional modulation layer on the B side. So there's lots of options nowadays when you're buying pedals. Sometimes I like to just be as straightforward as possible and go with a reverb pedal that is a solid reverb pedal. However, as we've just discovered, this guy has some very, very subtle modulation effects and some very subtle changes. I love the Octave verb, and I love the slight bit of overdrive on the spring reverb as well. I think those are 2 amazing additions, and I think you would not be disappointed having this even as an add-on reverb to just add another layer to your wet, dry, wet signal or something like that. I think this is going to be a very, very popular reverb unit, and I am very, very excited to say that I think this may be one of the very first ones to have escaped into the wild in Canada, and somebody in Canada is going to win this pedal along with 14 other boutique pedals on the Great Canadian Pedal Board. So if you haven't signed up to get in on the contest, the draw is on Canada Day. That's July 1st. The last day to enter is June 30th. Excuse me, it is currently May 5th, so quite a bit of time to go yet, but those days can slip by quickly, so I'm going to be bothering you on a daily basis to make sure that if you are in Canada and you are a guitar player, you do get your name into this draw, because it is a huge giveaway, and you're not going to want to miss out on it. And also to keep track of everything that's going on in the universe of Canadian boutique pedal building, I am just in awe of the tones and the sounds and just the ingenuity and incredible talent that's gone into producing these things here in Canada. So that's it for me for today. Make sure you like this video and subscribe. Consider becoming a member of the channel. Absolutely make sure you get in over on the contest. The link is down in the description to this video, and I will see you probably on Monday. Have yourselves a great weekend.